So this is the fourth video of this second online class, and we're going to work through the final few postures of the class. We're going to work with Parigasana, gate pose. We're going to work with the locust pose, which is a prone lying down back strengthener, and then we're going to work with some handstand prep. So bear with me and we'll work through them together. So Parigasana, first of all, is a side stretch from a kneeling position. So a couple of things you might want to do before we start. First one is to take some padding under the knees. So you can fold up your mat, you can take a cushion or a blanket, whatever you need. And the second thing you may need, you may not, but you may, is a yoga block. If you don't have a yoga block, use a book, absolutely no problem. And I'll show you why we need that in a minute, but we'll just have that to one side. So from upright kneeling, we're going to take the right foot out to the side, making this box shape with our legs. It's fine if it feels more comfortable just to walk the foot forward by its own width. And we're going to take the back of the right hand onto the inside of that knee. Take the left hand out to the side, breathing in, stretching up. And automatically I'm hoping you begin to feel this stretch up the side of the body. So pause here, breathe in once more, stretch up to the sky. And as you breathe out, keep the fingertips as high as you can make them, almost like you were trying to brush them over the ceiling. And as you do that, this right hand will start to track down towards the ankle, but our focus is up here with the top hand. Feel this lovely stretch up the side of the body, this lateral movement. The gaze can be forwards, you can gaze down, or you can gaze up towards your hands, whichever is most comfortable in the neck. Feel that you're opening in the chest, so you're not closing down. So there's this lovely openness along with the side stretch. Turn the palm face up, breathing in to stretch up, and breathing out, take the hand back down. Swap the legs over, so we're going to take the left foot out to the side, take that box shape. Back of the left hand onto the inside of the knee, palm of the right hand facing out, breathing in, stretch up. Once again, pause here, establish that length. Take one more in-breath, stretch up, brushing the fingers over the ceiling as you come a little bit deeper into that side stretch. Once again, opening the chest. Find a comfortable position for your neck. Breathing in for 4, breathing out for 4. Turn the palm face up, stretching up on the in-breath, breathing out, taking the hand down. Good. So it's absolutely fine if you want to repeat that variation. If you want to go into the next variation, we're going to straighten out the leg that comes out to the side. So this is where you may need a block. So I quite like to place my foot on a block, my toes I should say, the balls of my toes on a block. Because if I don't, my toes tend to come forwards and my knee will start to go out to the side, which is what we don't want. We want the knee pointing directly up to the ceiling to keep that knee safe. So feel free to use a block. If you've got ballerina feet and they come straight to the floor, just crack on, that's absolutely fine. Exactly the same principle, so take the back of the right hand onto the inside of the thigh, left hand out to the side, breathing in, stretch up. Feel that stretch up the side of the body, so feel free to pause here for a couple of breaths. And then feel that the breath travels up the side of your body, lift your fingertips over to the side, still aiming for that upwards movement. Your gaze can be down towards your leg, to the front of the room, or up towards your hand. If you would like to take some support, it's fine to rest the hand gently on that leg. Don't push down on the knee. So a gentle pressure on that leg is fine as long as you're active in that leg. Turn the palm face up, stretching up, breathing out, coming down. And once again, we'll go to the other side. So if you're using a block, take the block to the other side of the mat. Place the balls of the toes on the block. Back of the left hand on the inner thigh. Right hand out to the side, breathe in, stretch up. Breathe out, pause here. As you breathe in, stretch up once more. And as you breathe out, keeping those fingertips nice and high, brushing the ceiling, coming over to the side. Opening always with that chest, so avoiding the temptation to sink down. Opening up, one shoulder stacking over the other. If you want to support the weight, then there's a gentle touching of the shin, not the knee. Turn the palm to face up, breathing in, stretch up, and breathing out, take the hand down. Bring the knee back down and rest the hips back on the heels. And then if you'd like to lie down on your fronts, we're going to work through some variations of locust pose, Salabhasana. So first of all, allow your upper body to relax completely. So take your hands and you can rest your head on one side or the other, or perhaps rest your forehead on fists. I'm just propping myself up so that you can still hear me. But feel free to relax your upper body down completely. Take the legs, the knees and the ankles together and activate the legs. So if you relax completely, the heels will probably fall apart, the bottom goes all wobbly, probably. And if you activate the legs, your glutes fire up and engage, you can draw the heels together and your knees will lift off of the floor. Okay, so that's fully engaged legs. And then we're going to float one foot off the floor. So let's go with the left foot. See how high you can lift and keep active. So we're pushing the toes away, creating length through the leg, drawing the toes back as far as we can and then lifting. And then resting down with that foot. Both legs active again. See if you can draw your right toes away from you and then lift them up. So always staying active in the legs moving away first and then up. Perhaps just lifting an extra inch. And then coming down. And as you draw the foot down, draw it back into the centre so that it touches down with its opposite heel. And then we're going to go for both legs. So if you feel discomfort in the lumbar spine, then give both legs a miss. Keep working on single leg lifts. But if all is well, we're going to lift both legs at the same time. So fire up the glutes, draw the glutes in, thighs, knees lifting off the floor. And then begin to lift both legs. So we're aiming to push the toes away, lift up with the back of the legs. Remember to breathe. Lift a bit higher. Just one more breath. And then releasing down. Good. Just have a wriggle out to loosen up a little bit. And then we're going to weave together the hands, so the upper body, the arms and the legs as well. So place the forehead on the floor and take the palms by your sides, by your hips. Okay? So the forehead is down, mine's just lifted so you can still hear me. And then we're going to lift up with the forehead, with the chest, with the hands. So your hands are lifting behind you, palms facing in, lift them up as high as you can. So the little fingers lifting up to the ceiling, squeezing the elbows in towards each other, but they're still straight. Lifting the legs, good. Lifting the chest, drawing back through the fingertips as if you wanted to grab your toes. Your legs are lifted and engaged just as they were before. Each time you breathe in, think about lifting them a little higher. And each time you breathe out, holding. This is a wonderful all back strengthener. And releasing down slowly. Allowing the head to rest on one side for a couple of breaths. Turning the head to the other side. If it feels nice, you can draw yourself all the way back into child's pose for a few breaths. So pushing up, lifting the shoulders and the hips at the same time if you can. Taking the hips back to the heels. Lengthening the body down the thighs. Forehead to the floor or to blocks. Resting the hands down by your sides. Just allowing all that work in the back of the body to ease out for a few breaths. Good. Breathing in and coming up. Coming into a kneeling position. So earlier on we worked with some wrist warm-ups. If you've skipped the earlier videos and come straight to this one, you'll need to do a few wrist warm-ups for this next piece. So circling the wrists, using the wrists in cat, circling around with the shoulders, or just go and check out that video. Good. If you've done your wrist warm-ups, that's great, we can crack on. So we're going to come into cat once more. And we're going to work with some scapular push-ups. So that might not mean anything at all to you. Keep the belly engaged. So again, avoiding the temptation to sink into the shoulders and drop the belly to the floor. A gentle lift with the belly button towards the spine is all we need. And then in the shoulders, you're going to have a feeling of dropping the chest down whilst keeping the belly engaged. And you can feel the shoulder blades come together behind your back. So I'm just going to demonstrate what that looks like. So in cat, it's this. So the shoulder blades behind your back drawing together as you sink the chest down towards the floor. Notice that your arms are staying straight, so don't avoid the temptation to bend. Belly's drawing in, shoulder blades drawing together behind your back. And then we're going to push through the hands, keep the arms straight, and lift the upper back strongly to the ceiling. And the effect of doing this is the shoulder blades separate. They're separating behind your back. So if you do that once more, and do this with control, so you're building strength. So we're drawing the shoulder blades together behind our back, and then slowly, strongly pushing the shoulders up towards the ceiling and feeling the shoulder blades separate behind your back. Once more, squeeze the shoulder blades together behind your back, and then actively push through the hands, rounding the upper back, separating the shoulder blades behind you. Fantastic. Good. And then we're going to sit back onto your heels. Actually, come back into cat, sorry. Just make sure you've got enough space in front of you, so you might want to walk your cat back a little bit. And then keeping the hips over the kneecaps, we're going to walk the hands away. So we're coming into puppy pose. Keep walking the hands away, keep the hips over the knees. You'll know if the hips come forwards or back because you'll feel a change in the weight in your kneecaps. Keep the weight the same, distributed through your kneecaps. Take the hands as far in front as you can and begin to sink the chest down towards the floor. If your chest naturally comes to the floor straight away, then perhaps try bringing the hands closer together. Tuck the tailbone under, draw the belly in strongly and see if that makes a difference and gives you some more space to move into. And we're just going to sink and breathe here. If you want to make this more active, you can lift up onto your fingertips and then create more space again for your chest to sink down. Keep the elbows raised and keep the arms active all the time. And then lifting up, walking the knees back in. And then we're going to have a lay down on our backs. Okay, so lying down on your backs, have your knees bent to start with, and I'd like you to become aware of the contact that your body makes with the mat. So the backs of your shoulders, the backs of your hips, and you will probably have a gap where your lower back lifts. There's a natural lumbar arch there. And now I'd like you to feel, before doing anything else, that you can get rid of that arch. So if I exaggerate the arch, I have to tuck my tailbone under, push my lumbar spine into the floor. Okay, and this is your checkpoint. So we're always going to have this lumbar arch reduced so you can feel the lower back in contact with the mat. Good. Begin to take one foot away, keep it lifted, and notice how that affects the ability to keep your lower back on the mat. Very slowly lower it down to the floor, keeping the lumbar arch down. And then with the other leg straightening out, noticing what happens to that arch. Has it lifted? It feels quite strong already, and begin to lower down. So for me, I can already feel that with my legs straight, the arch is lifted a little bit. I'm having to really strongly engage my abs to keep the lumbar arch out. So if that happens, just soften the knees again. Take the soles of the feet on the floor, bring the lower back to the mat. Good. So hands or down by your hips with the palms facing in. The knees are slightly bent, belly pushing down so that the lumbar arch is gone. Lift your head and your shoulders, your fingertips extending away. Lift one leg, lift the other leg. So we're coming into a dish shape. No arch here. So my back's pushing down into the floor. You can hear my voice shake because it's quite strong. And hold. Bring the knees into the chest, hug them in, relax the back down to the floor. So this is our hollow body shape that we need to work with for handstand, for holding a handstand position. It's really important that we develop the strength in all parts of the body. So it's not just about hanging around upside down, it's about having the strength to safely hold that shape. And these core drills are really simple and really effective. So we're going to go through that once more. So again, lower your feet to the floor. Notice automatically if your lumbar arch is lifted, and tuck under, push your lower back into the mat. So we're getting rid of that lumbar arch. Lift up with the chest and the head, looking down towards your feet. Extend one foot away. This might be as far as you want to go. It's fine to stay here with one foot extended away. If you're okay to go further, lift both and hold. If this is really easy for you, by the way, feel free to lift the arms up overhead and notice how much stronger that becomes. And then lifting the knees in, releasing back down. Good. Feel free to do as many of those as you like, they're great. Otherwise, rolling over onto your sides, coming back into cat position. Tuck the toes under, take the hips back to the heels. Position your hands so the fingers are spread, your index finger is pointing forwards, and you're pushing down into the balls of the fingers. And push down, lift the knees, and then lift the hips up into downward facing dog. Okay, so first things first, let's get the hand position so the fingers are spread, balls of the fingers are still down, and you can grip with your fingertips. Soften the knees, open under the armpits. So this is similar to our poppy pose that we did earlier. Opening with the armpits, pushing through the hands, wrap the triceps towards your ears. So it's a feeling of the inner elbows beginning to face forwards. They might not face forwards, but they're working in that direction. Take your heels back and down. Good. Push actively into the floor with your hands so that your triceps come as close to your ears as you can get them. Good. We're going to come into a three-legged dog. So step one foot into the centre and take the other foot up behind you. I have to be careful not to kick the wall. So lift that foot nice and high. Keep pushing through both hands. Keep the shoulders open and keep squeezing the ears with the triceps. Take that foot back down. Keep the shoulders strong, keep the elbows rotating inwards and lift the other leg. Keep pushing through both hands equally, both shoulders engaged, triceps wrapping towards the ears. Take that foot back down. Place both feet on the floor, come up onto the toes, take the knees down towards the floor and resting in child's pose. So take the hands back towards the heels, rest the head on the floor or on some blocks. And take a rest there for a good few breaths.